Hey guys, Mike Armstrong here with Sports Stop in Hampshire, bringing you another video. So I'm on episode 4, part 4 of the traditional 6-diamond tutorial. All right, I know it's a little tough to get the hang of, especially over the video. But like I said in the last episode, we do run stringing clinics here at Sports Stop. So if you're ever in the area or from New Hampshire and you want to check it out, check out our Facebook page. We post them there. The link will be down in the description below. Same with our Instagram. All right, so let's get started. We are on to our 4th row. So what we want to do here to start off is, as you remember from the last episodes, we want to keep this top section nice and tight so we have that angle. If you see how it's tilted this way, all right? Once we straighten it, once we pull tight, it'll all straighten out, all right? So you don't want it to be too drastic. You don't want to be pulling it all the way over, but you do want it to be nice and snug. So you want to make sure that that's nice and tight there at the top, and we're going to go through that middle knot like we did in the 2nd row. Okay, so you go right along the back of that, and you're going to go over the string because we're going down now. All right. So now again, use your finger, pull the leather nice and tight so that it's straight, and then tighten the cross lace around that. And once you let go, it'll move over a little bit. All right, and then we go through that hole. Alright, got that tension pretty good. Move on to our next knot. So yeah, pull that nice and tight. Make sure the leather's stretched over. Go to your next one. Again, this top section is critical that you keep this nice and tight, because that's going to prevent the ball from pushing back and clipping on the top there. All right? So you can already tell that it's got some decent tension to it. All right? It's not going to be as tight as it's going to be at the end, but you'll get the gist of it. All right, so now, again, we want to pull this leather out a little bit so we get a good we can judge well as to where we want the knots to be. All right, so pull that a little bit, slide that knot down. And a good way to judge how tight is also to look at your 1st row. You want your 2nd row. You want your 2nd row to match your 4th row in terms of the amount of cross lace that's in between the leathers. All right, that's going to help you keep it nice and symmetrical. All right, so through that next one. Okay, looking good. We want to move on to our next one. This is really where our pocket is, so this is where we're going to want the most cross lace in between the leathers. Okay. Lower this a little bit. Good. And go through the next one. So I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee before it gets cold. Alright. So yeah, that's looking good. Now you can start to see it really come together here. Alright. This is pulled over a little bit, what it's supposed to be. Alright, that's how we get our tension. And alright. And this is going to be our last loose one. We're going to start tightening up now that we're here at the bottom. Okay. So now, when we're going over that center transfer knot, this is why I was originally going to do it so that you go back through this side, because you're actually going to end up with one more loop now, because we're on our last one here. We're actually going to connect it to this bottom one here. So there's going to be 2 loops there, 3 here. All right, so that's where I was going with going back through this one on the transfer to give you 3 loops here, so that when you came down to this spot here, you had 3 loops on both sides. But I'm just picky, so it doesn't matter for any. It doesn't have any kind of functionality. It's just for looks. So now that we're there, we're gonna keep that fairly snug, and we're gonna go up through the top knot on that center piece there. Okay. All right. So now again, people are going to disagree with me on this part, but agree to disagree. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the outside of that bottom hole. All right, right there we go. Right through there, just where same spot as where we tied on. Okay. So it's going to loop around like that. Okay, and that's going to be our transfer onto our last row. All right, so let's finish it off. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing as what we did over onto this side. All right, so we're going to tie here, 2 into this one, and then 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, it's going to be nice and simple. And this is where you can really see it come together, and this is going to be the easiest row to finish. Okay, so get that unhooked. So now take a look at your first row. Make sure that your lengths are the same. So this is where you kind of got to get into it, really push out with your hand. And you go through the outside and underneath the string, just like that. Okay, through the next one. So this side, I know I said that you want it to be exactly like the other one, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, if you notice that you're more comfortable putting it on another section, it doesn't have to be. It's just you want this knot on the sidewall here to be in the middle of the 2 knots on the leather. So whatever works best. Okay. This next one here. So now we're going down through and underneath like that. So now that we're getting towards the top, this is where all that tightening, over tightening, is going to pay off. Okay. So we get that in. It's good. Pull this one down a little bit. See now, I'm actually going to skip this section here because putting it in here, so you want it in between these two here. Alright, so if I put it in that one, it wouldn't be in between. I got to put it up here. Alright, so it's not actually going to be the same as the first one. Alright, so through here. So now this is where you're going to start pulling it so that it straightens itself out. Okay, so you see how it's starting to straighten out there? Go in here. And our last one. Right through the knot. Instead of going around the sidewall, we're going to go through the next hole, right like that. Make sure we're pulled tight enough. I'm going to have to do a little bit of adjusting. That's to be expected with traditionals. All right. Make sure you pull it out. See how that's nice and snug there? And then tie her off. Now, don't expect to learn this the first time you try it. All right, it took me tons of traditionals to get it down pretty good, and I still don't consider myself learned. I mean, I have a lot more to learn. Okay, but there's a decent pocket there. All right, it's got a nice release. Good channel on it. Once it stretches out and gets set, it's going to be pretty good. All right, just like that. All right, guys. Well, I hope you learned something. I know it's tough learning traditionals, especially over a video. But if you guys have any questions at all about stringing, about anything, feel free to call the shop here at 603-606-1921. We're in New Hampshire. We do run clinics every now and then. If you want to follow our Facebook page, the link will be down in the description below, along with the Instagram. You can keep updated on when we're going to be holding clinics. The traditionals will be in the advanced clinics. We do beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So if you're from the area or you find yourself vacationing up here, maybe Lake Winnipesaukee or something, feel free to give us a call and we'll do our best to fit you in. All right, guys. Well, for now, it's been Mike Armstrong with Sports Stop. See you later.